In Unit 1, we worked on asking and answering questions with who, what, when, and where. Now we will focus on some other question words. It is critical to understand what a question is asking and how to answer it. We will become familiar with these question words and learn exactly how to answer these types of questions. Turn in your student books to page 14. Follow along as I review the information. I already pointed out that skilled readers preview the text for features such as headings and graphics. They also reread text carefully and slowly to gain understanding. Skilled readers monitor their thinking while reading to be sure that each sentence and paragraph makes sense. They look for answers to big idea questions. Skilled readers also ask themselves and others questions about their reading. You will learn more about asking good questions. The heading on page 14 is Question Words. The top of the page provides hints on how to answer the questions. The chart at the bottom of the page lists signal words or question words that you can use to ask good questions. Let me explain the chart. The words in the left column are used to start the question. The right column lets you know what information is needed to answer the question. For example, if I ask, how do you get to school? Your answer to the question would include the way you get to school, by walking, by car, or by bus. If I ask, why do you walk to school? Your answer would include a reason for walking to school. This time, when we read Africa Digs, we will ask questions about the text. Doing this helps us understand what is important. We will also answer the questions that we ask. Turn to page 43 in your student books. Let's do what good readers do and reread Africa Digs with a focus on asking and answering questions. Remember what you do when you read. Your eyes need to track or follow the text, while your eraser points to the words. While you're busy looking and pointing to text, your brain is busy looking for patterns and making meaning. While listening, you should be aware of questions that come to mind and questions that you can ask others. We're going to read each section at a time. We're going to start with the introduction, and you're going to read it and you're going to look up when you have finished reading. Eyes ready? Pencil ready? Let's begin. Now turn to page 65. You're going to want to leave a marker, a pencil or a pen or something to kind of mark your place on page 43, because we're going to be flipping back and forth between the story and page 65. Think about the text. What questions do you have? Or what should your peers have learned about the African dig in this section? Choose one question word in number 1 to begin your question. Consider starting your question with who or where. Write the question on the page. Be prepared to answer your question out loud. Now let's head back to the passage. We will read steps 1 and 2. Eyes ready? Pencil ready? Remember to look up when you have finished reading. Let's begin. Now turn back to page 65. Choose a different question word. Try using what or when. Write the question on the page. Be prepared to answer your question out loud. Now let's head back to the passage. It's time to read steps 3 and 4. Remember to look up when you have finished reading. Eyes ready? Pencil ready? Let's begin. Turn back to page 65. Let's ask more questions. It will be more difficult, but use a question word that you haven't used yet. Try using where, or, is, or are. Write the question on the page. Be prepared to answer your question out loud. Now let's head back to the passage. You're going to read steps 5 and 6. Remember to look up when you have finished reading. Now turn back to page 65. Choose a different question word. Try using what or how. Write the question on the page. Be prepared to answer your question out loud. It's time to read steps 7 and 8. Let's head back to the passage. Remember to look up when you have finished reading steps 7 and 8. Eyes ready? Pencil ready? Let's begin. Now turn back to page 65. Let's ask more questions. Try using how or why. Write the question on the page. Be prepared to answer your question out loud. Let's head back to the passage. It's time to finish up the passage. Eyes ready? Pencil ready? Remember to look up when you've finished reading. Let's begin. Now turn back to page 65. On number 6, you're going to write your last question on the page. Try using what or why for this question. Be prepared to answer your question out loud. Now, with a partner, you're going to ask each other your questions and answer each other's questions. You're going to have about 2 or 3 minutes to do so. Now we're going to be looking at pages 66 and 67. Now we will answer other questions about Africa Digs for more practice. Some of the questions may be similar to the questions you already asked and answered. Follow along as I read the directions. Read each question. Identify and underline the question word. Use the question words poster or the chart on page 14 to review the type of information required to respond to the question. Use text headings or other text features in the passage to locate the content needed to answer each question. Reread the section to retrieve exact information to use as text evidence. Let's look at number 1. Who led the dig in Niger, Africa? If the question asks who, the answer must include a person or group. So I'm going to underline the question word who and then look for my evidence. I can look in the text to find the answer. On page 43, lines 3 and 4, it says that in 1997, Dr. Serino led a dig in Niger, Africa. This is my text evidence. Now I will write my answer. I want to make sure that my answer is enough for me to look at and learn from, so I need to include part of the question in my answer. So look at my sentence frame that I just put on the board. My first part is going to be the actual answer. It answers who. And then I'm going to finish the sentence using words from the question. Dr. Serino led the dig in Niger, Africa. Let's look at the next question. Why did Dr. Serino need help from the Tuareg tribe? What is the question word in that sentence? Why? So we're going to underline why. How do we answer a question that begins with why? You're looking for a reason. So let's use the sentence frame for number 2 to answer the question. Who or what, and then you're going to use words from the question, because, and then you're going to add your reason, which is the actual answer. So my answer is going to be Dr. Serino needed help from the Tuareg tribe because they knew where to look in the desert for bones. They knew where to look in the desert for bones is that reason. It's the actual answer part of the question. The text evidence for that is found on lines 6 and 7 on page 43. Now I want you to try number 3 with a partner. How did the dig team protect the fossils? What is the question word in that sentence? How. So how is the question word. We're going to underline how. How do we answer a question that begins with how? We're going to answer it with a way that something is done. So, as I said, let's try this one with a partner. Remember to put part of the question in your answer and provide text evidence from the passage. So our answer is going to begin, the dig team protected the fossils by, and then you're going to include a way that something is done. What did you find out for number 3? Now you're going to answer the remaining questions and provide text evidence for your answers.